Hello there and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things personal development. It could be improving, growing, doing all those things in order to pursue, to practice, and to live out a life that makes you proud. My name is Natasha. Hi. And I am so honored that I get to be your host today. I just really want to say this. There was so many times in my life in which I had no idea of what even would make me proud. That's a great question. What makes me proud? What things do you do that, you're like, yeah, I did that. But for so long, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for someone else to see me, someone else to notice me, someone else to give me validation, someone else to say, I love you, someone else to say, I'm proud of you. And what this journey has taught me and that I want to emphasize to you is all of those things that we seek externally, if you're not there anymore, there's times I'm a human, there's times I still want to, someone say you did a good job or things like that. But overall, it is not my motivating force like it was before, because I've learned that I am the most important person in my life. And I know that sounds crazy. For me to even say that out loud, it's nuts, right? I would have a few years ago thought, if I heard somebody say that, that is the most selfish person I have ever heard of, especially a mom of four. She's married, she's got a family, she has friends. They're all the most important people in the world. And what this journey has taught me is they are beautiful, the most important additions to my life. But I need to take care of myself. And so today what we're going to talk a little bit about is the freedom that comes with pursuing a life that makes you proud. It is this weight, this burden that I carried, and I think that you carry too, that you have to people please, that you have to accommodate, that you have to step aside so someone else can come in. And it's not that you can't do those things ever, but it should be coming from a place of what you want to do, not from a place in which you feel like you should. When you are doing things that you want to do, it comes from this genuine place. There isn't a resentment. There isn't a harsh feeling or a lack of feeling. Maybe you want to step aside and let someone go in a spot that you were in a class, or, take the seat that you were in, or you want to give them the last egg roll that's on your plate. And because you see that they wanted it, those things are fine. Before, I used to think I had to. I used to think that in some way it wasn't a really necessarily a conscious thought. It just was what the default setting running in the background was the other people were more important than you, and that perhaps maybe someday your time will come too, instead of creating a life in which we work together. And sometimes they do come first, and sometimes I come first, and sometimes we're just first together. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a hard thing. It is a hard concept for me to not always put somebody else ahead of me. I find myself, still, I'm a human, so I will slip into things. Like last night, I was so excited. I got tired, took a beautiful walk with my son. We cooked dinner together. We had dinner together. All six of us were at the table. My daughter didn't eat the dinner. She was making something else different for her and her boyfriend when he was going to arrive, but she was still at the table. All six of us were there. And, I know that those moments are precious. We're on borrowed time here, people. Besides a holiday or a special occasion or a really intentional act, that's not going to happen in perpetuity. I don't think they're going to live with me for 6 years or, for the rest of their life, or I'm going to live with them. So I really, really just enjoyed being able to be in the same room with them. And, it was a beautiful thing, but I was so excited I was like, listen, after dinner, showering, I'm laying in bed. It's going to be 7:00. I am just going to chill. And Chris is like, that sounds perfect. So, that was the plan. But things happen, right? And as soon as I lay down, my littlest one is like, I have this whole presentation I want to show you and this thing. And it took like an hour to get the presentation streamed to the TV. And I knew they had taken a lot of time. Oh, by the way, am I taking the SATs? Okay, let's set up this account, this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And then so next thing you knew, it was like 11:30 at night. And I was like, where did the time go? I lost a gift card that I had purchased for $420 it was a $500 gift card. I got it at Costco when it was on sale for $420. Gone. Can't find it. So, I mean, at least it doesn't expire, but now it's like racking my brain. Like, where did it go? Where did it go? I have multiple things that I have been in haste of, just saying goodbye to things. Like I've been talking about here, decluttering, getting rid of these things that are holding me down. And sometimes I very thoroughly look through things. And sometimes I'm like, I cannot thoroughly look through everything in my life. And I'll kind of blindly throw things away. And just recently, I've found a few things in which I've thrown away that I was like, oh, I threw that whole binder away. It had like saving bonds in there. Had a lot of things that are not necessarily replaceable. So that was a real humbling experience. And now I can't find this gift card. So I'm like, did I throw that away too? Like, I'm telling you, it is a beautiful thing. But then I was like, this is what is going to make me a hoarder, because I get fearful that I throw away a savings bonds and a gift card, and then I don't want to throw things away. And I'm like, no, it's okay. I mean, it's money. It hurts. It's going to sting a bit, but, that freedom, again, to go back to that concept, I get from having clear spaces and declutter. I mean, as much as I dust and clean and do all these things, when I was looking for things, the papers had dust on them, things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you don't realize how quickly like things accumulate, and then dust accumulates on it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to get those all taken care of too. But I love the freedom of being like, okay, here is things to do. So freedom is such a precious commodity. I think often, especially living in the United States, we don't always appreciate what a gift it is. Right now, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Traditionally, my family, my ancestors, they haven't been the 9-to-5 kind of people. My kids clearly are not 9-to-5 people. Chris is a very goal-oriented, like not goal, but task-oriented person. So he loves to be like, get something in, get it done. Get something in, get it done. So that's like his secret sauce. Ooh, I'm kicking over here. And for me, I love like creative and kind of going with the flow, so I have a loose schedule where it's like, here's where I am, but I have open time in there, which is a blessing and a curse, because if it's on there, if there's something to do on my calendar, I'm doing it. But if it's not on there, then sometimes there's blocks of time in which I'm like, oh, okay, I just go by the whim of my pants. So like today was a beautiful day outside, and what started as like bringing around the trash cans ended up being like, okay, let me do some gardening. Let me clear out some stuff. Like I used to love, there were these morning glories, and they would grow bountiful and beautiful. But let me tell you, those things are invasive. They didn't want to stay where they wanted to like, they wanted to go where they wanted to go. And I wanted to keep them confined into an area. And they like literally have grown on cement. I'm like, how is this root here? And there is no soil. There is no water. Like, what is happening here? So I am like, before they start coming, because they just take over. And when they're in bloom, they're beautiful. But then suddenly they start to die. And then they make a huge mess, and like underneath it is like dead, and then it gets really dusty, and I'm just like, we're cleansing everything. When Chris and I had separated and he had moved out, I took a lot of aggression out in the garden. I was hacking at things. I had these blackberries, and I'm telling you, they make the most delicious blackberries I've ever tasted in my life. And I grew them, but then it was like this whole bush, and it was thorny, and it was everything. And I was like, honestly, and then we started not being able to enjoy them. All the nature, which I appreciate, feeding the wildlife out there, but I was like, this is too much. Like, I gutted that all. I gutted all this stuff in the front of the house. Like, I have cleared out the garden and made it look fresh and new and not over cluttered and overgrown and all these things. It's a new era and a new time. And so, I was just doing some cleanup maintenance, and it was beautiful to be outside. The birds, you know how I feel about those birds. They are chirping out there. I actually heard what I thought was a woodpecker, and I do know now, which I thought was like an owl. I'm like, why is this owl outside? It ends up being, it is called a mourning dove. Not like the morning in Good Morning, but like mourning, like sorrowful, because it kind of has this sorrowful sound. I was like, oh yeah, it does. But I was like, I never really realized there were doves around here. So that was a pretty interesting experience. And, I got great news. I got something back today, and it came at exactly the numbers I needed it to come back at. So yes, even though the person didn't properly do their work, they just literally picked up numbers on a computer and put them together instead of actually doing their homework. They were saying, so I was like, whatever. I don't even care. I'm not going to complain about it because it came in at the numbers I needed. So yes, very grateful and excited for that. So hopefully my loan is going to come along and take away some of my stressors. However, I have found a couple of other plan Bs. So I'm kind of like, okay, whatever happens. I'm okay with whatever does happen. And yeah, I was telling Chris actually the story about my succulents. I just looked over and was admiring them again. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, it's like they're very vibrant in colors. There's more burgundies and light pinks and greens, of course. Like, so it's like this plethora of colors and some purples and blues. So I was telling the story. He's like, oh, is this kind of like us? And I was like, yes, it's funny you connected that. And I might have said that yesterday, but if I didn't, I'm going to say it again today. But freedom. So I had the freedom today to choose. Like, I could come in and record. I could come in and post my video for today. I still need to post. I could have read. I could have took a nap. I could have went to the gym longer. I could have, done so many things. And with that freedom, I chose to spend some more time in nature. I chose to really have that vitamin D hit my skin and feel alive, because that's what the sun does to me. Even though that my body, like during one of my classes today, was like, I am tired. My body was just like, wow, I'm tired. So, I'm really excited. I've got dinner planned already. It's one of those rare meals that everybody eats. So that's always nice. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be where I'm at in this time of life. I'm so grateful. One of the things I was thinking about today is, like, again, this concept of freedom. What does freedom mean to you? Like, today freedom can mean a lot of things. Like, freedom gave me the time to do what I wanted to do. But freedom can also mean freedom of mind. Like, I thought to myself, God, it's so nice to be in a pleasant place with Chris and with my kids, because that grants me freedom. I'm not thinking about like the frustrations with them, or like, how do I respond, or how do I bring this? Like, it's just freedom. And freedom for me is also peace. Like, it just is peace. I'm excited to see, when we get to see each other again. I'm excited to have those communications. I'm excited that, like, freedom, my back isn't hurting right now. And that's a sense of freedom, because I can move. Now I'm doing things a little on the gingerly side. I don't want to push it, because it's like, it's just feeling better. And so, what I do then is like go crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to go nice and slow, keep it strong. Freedom is getting things off of my to-do list and having that mental space that was once consumed by these tasks opened up and free. And I can either fill them with new tasks, or I can just enjoy the freedom. Freedom is choosing, like, what to do, like choosing these things. And I know and not everybody has this ability. Not everybody has this gift at this time, right? It's a tough time out there. I mean, I talked to some friends today. They were talking about their husbands getting laid off, their sisters getting laid off. Like, it is a scary time financially for a lot of us out there. And, you know, I can see the struggles of my kids applying for jobs and not hearing anything back, and, you know, doing everything that they think that they're supposed to do. You know, for my other son who competes, there's the, you know, the loss of, you know, economics, right? Like, so people start pulling back when money's tight. And so there's not as many competitions. There's not as many things that he can do to generate income. And, you know, he wants to compete. And so, you know, that's always a challenge. And, you know, it's, so my own things. And, you know, my other son wants to go on this trip, and he made this whole slideshow with his girlfriend, which I think she made predominantly, but it was very cute. And I appreciated the effort to talk about how he really wanted to go visit her in Kansas. And, I was really, really, I admired the tenacity for it. So last night I did book him a trip to go visit, and it was expensive because I felt most comfortable with him being on a direct flight versus him, you know, waiting for 3 or 4 or 5 hours for $100 or $200 here and there. It's like, I would like the peace of mind to know you got there and you got home. So, you know, he has that exciting thing. That's where he's going to spend his spring break, and then we'll have a day together. And then I have my procedure. So I'm going forward with it. For those of you who have been on a weight loss journey, I get that all the time, is, you know, is there skin and all other things? And there is. Like, I'm a woman of a certain age. I still, again, I love eating my sweets and sugar and, you know, goodies. Like, I eat balanced, but I also eat what I like. Like, I'm not here to, you know, like I say, the physical is just a cherry on top. It is not everything for me. So for me to have this, this desire to deprive myself is just not there. I have a healthy relationship with food. You know, sometimes I overeat and I'm like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have ate that much because I really enjoyed it. And that's something I self-correct on, right? But there's nothing I can't eat, and there's nothing that I don't enjoy eating. So I feel like, you know, I get one life, and I'm really proud of myself for saying, hey, I'm not going to feel guilty because I ate or drank this. I want that freedom to have this relationship with food that's healthy for me. Perhaps for you, it is healthy to just, you know, the relationship for you is, I'm going to eat these particular things. Like my friend, he's lost over 85 pounds and maintained it. I always remember he started his weight loss journey on my anniversary, of my marriage anniversary. So I always remember when he started his journey. It was beautiful to see his transition from large to small, and how he has given back in the form of being a coach and really promoting the product in which he used that helped facilitate his journey. Super proud of him. And, you know, I see him in like yoga classes and dance classes, and it's this funny thing too, because, you know, I was thinking today when I was getting ready to go to the gym, it's like, it's so cool to walk into a place that I once felt like an imposter of, and now feel completely at home and natural in. And it's just so beautiful. It's such a symbol to me of how things can change and how quickly they can change, or how slow it takes, right? Like my physical changes, you know, in my strength and my ability, it's a slow journey. It's fine. And I was prepared for that. But the changes I started to feel on the inside were almost instantaneous. The comfort I felt there, the courage I felt there, the support I felt there, the support I gave others there. So it's a beautiful thing. And I really want you to have a place that perhaps you once felt like an imposter in, like, and now suddenly you have really dove in and discovered who you are, and now there's a place that you feel completely at home in, or doing things that you know, maybe you wanted to cook and you didn't know how, and now you've taken classes, or you've, you know, watched a lot of YouTubes, or you're following recipes, and suddenly you feel at home in the kitchen, where before you felt like, oh my gosh, I burn everything, I don't know how to cook, or whatever it is. So really, I want you to lean in and have this creative freedom to be exactly who you are meant to be. You know, one of the beautiful things I think in life is looking around and hearing all the things in which People are willing to help you. I was talking to this one lady who she actually lives behind me. We did a class together today, and we were talking about our kids, and she was talking about how her kids are struggling. And I'm like, I'm always here, as a support if you need anything. And we were talking about, jobs. And she's like, oh, I used to be a recruiter. Let me help. Here's the things. I still have over 20,000 connections. Like, I totally can help. And so again, it's like, you don't even say anything and everybody wants to help. I'm offering help. Like, here, if you need any like parenting things, here's what's help for me. And she's willing to help with. It's a beautiful thing to have this freedom to share whatever your powerhouse is, whatever knowledge that you have, whatever wisdom you have. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to receive it. I know that there's been times in my own life, I don't know for you, like it's been hard to receive information because I feel like I felt like I needed to do everything on my own. I felt like, the feedback wasn't there to necessarily help me, but the feedback was coming to prove that I wasn't doing something right or I could improve. And that was one of the interesting things about, my conversation yesterday is like, the lady I spoke with, she was like, this is not to be mean, or this is not, and I'm like, no, fire at me. Like, I'm not taking any of this personal. What I know about this is very little. What I know, I like about how to like produce, how to put up the website, all those things is very small. And I raise my hand to that. But what I do know is I know that I love connecting with people and I love sharing the stories. And if we can just do this in a way in which it's helpful to you guys and it's more efficient, and like, I'm all for this. Like, I'm all for growing and improving. I do not think I have it together at all when it comes to that stuff. I am so eager and excited to learn. This is going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad that I get to be on this journey and I get to bring you along with me. Like, what? This is the very coolest thing I've had happen in a long time. So, it's crazy, right? Like, not too long ago, I was struggling to get out of bed. Like, I look at my bed and I can see like the ghost of me laying in there, like a shell of a person physically. Like, my back was never in more pain. I don't know if it's part of like just storing all the things in the hips and everything like that, because it was my hips, it was my back. Like, I couldn't sleep. My heart was broken. My stomach was gutted. I couldn't even eat. My energy was non-existent. I felt like my smile had faded, and I knew I could get back to where I was. I knew I would get back to where I was. And I knew that part of the process was sitting in the pain. I knew that part of that is admitting I'm not okay. And being okay, not being okay. And understanding that, again, like the patisserie husband said, is that in order to see the rainbow, we have to be able to withstand the rain. That's beautiful to me. I really, really can connect to that because there's so many storms out there. Sometimes we have notice and warning, and other times they just appear and we didn't even know they were coming. And so in order to really just enjoy yourself and your life, enjoy what's going on, whether it be the rain, whether it be the sun, accepting what's happening to you instead of, insisting, why me? Why is this happening to me? This is putting yourself in an area of like a cell. You are no longer free when you're focusing on how you are a victim of what's happening. You can inquisitively, curiously question what decisions in your life got you there, but not why me, not in a what happened. And sometimes some things that you're so emotional about, right, aren't even to do with what has happened to you. I've sat here many times and felt devastated and heartbroken because my son was injured. Devastated or heartbroken because they didn't get the, job or the opportunity they wanted. Devastated because they were devastated. And I realize now that sitting in the why them, why not them, why this, or why not me, or why me, like all those things keeps you imprisoned, and it keeps you small, and it keeps you from seeing what is that next thing that's out there. Everything that's happened, even in the toughest of times, has led me to a relationship that has been the best relationship I've had with my partner. I feel super seen. I feel super heard. I feel every night he tells me something nice. And, like we have, like over the weekend, we did some manual labor. He is not the one for that kind of manual labor, like gardening and things like that. Does not like it whatsoever. It is very triggering for him. And, there were tons of like beetles and spiders, and like if I'm out in the garden doing it, like I'm just like, let's go, like I am in it. And he's like, I was shocked that when I looked over, you're just in it and pulling it. I'm like, it's got to get done. Like I can sit here and cry about it, but there's nobody else coming to save me. So it's like I just need to get it done and let's just get it out of here. Beetles leave, spiders go. Like I got my gloves on, and that makes me invincible somehow. No, I don't know. But it's the freedom of not being the victim of it. Like, oh my God, why do I have to do this? All this thing. Just accepting what it is like, okay, let's just go and get it done. It has a total different energy. And so we made it through that. And that was a touching, like for me, like nothing went touch and go, but I was kind of like, oh my gosh, how is this going to be? Like, I was like, a little bit nervous, like, okay, like hopefully everything is gonna be fine. And it was fine. I mean, he had his moments where he was pretty quiet and whatever, and then we giggled about it not too long after. It wasn't like this whole experience like it used to be. It was this just beautiful display of how much he has grown, how much I have grown, and how much we have collectively grown. So I'm really excited. And it's really interesting because like so many times I now catch myself, and before it was like, even before we had like separated, like it was so much about me almost having an end game, me having my personal freedom, which also included freedom from him. But now often there's times where I'm like, so there's, I know that I can also have my freedom, and I'm still very much appreciative and really enjoying that. But I'm also thinking in an idea of the plan for we. It's us. And it's beautiful for me because I didn't feel that way before. I felt like I was on an island all alone, and I was on an island and I was, doing all the work and doing everything while everybody was sipping pina coladas or virgin pina coladas on the beach, being going in the pool and having a great time. And I was, running around ordering the food to get to the island somehow and making sure everybody had this and they were comfortable and this and this and this and this. And I was just absolutely drained and exhausted. So I was just like, I just want freedom. I just want to get away and be like, if I was on an island by myself, then I would be fine, but now here on this island with all y'all, I'm taking on all y'all's problems. And this freedom is this realization that in a life that makes me proud, in a life that makes you proud, everybody else's problems are that. Those are their problems. Those are their things. It is great to support somebody. It is great to lend an ear if you can. But you also need to nurture and take care of yourself. You need to check in that it doesn't make you a bad person because you're not immediately always available for somebody. It doesn't make you a bad person if you can't do all the things that somebody else wants you to do. Freedom. Your freedom comes in so many forms, and your freedom is up to you. Sometimes we put ourselves in situations where we create our own prison. You no longer need to be imprisoned by the thoughts in your head, by the way your physical body looks, by any of these things. You have the freedom. The door is unlocked. You can come and go as you please. So choose how would you like to spend your freedom? What things with your freedom make you feel the most proud? So I'm so grateful for you today. I'm going to just say this. Please go out there, give yourself a big smile and give yourself a huge compliment. I mean, today I'm going to say, you know what? I'm really proud that I have learned gardening. My grandma had taught me. She was really big on always putting something red and white together. She loved those contrasts. So like if we were planting impatiens, which were the first flowers I ever learned how to plant, my grandma always put one red little clump next to a white one. And then of course the various other colors. So I'm really grateful that I was open to receive that education, and that has brought me a lot of joy in life, that I an appreciation and I know some random names of flowers. And so that's been a gift. I would love for you then, like when your cup overfloweth, to go out there and give somebody else a big smile and give somebody else a compliment. And sometimes our cuppeth do not need to be overfloweth. Sometimes we need to fake it till we make it. Even if you're not feeling exactly great or confident, please go out there. And I just want you to see, because exactly how they show the appreciation and the gratitude and the glow from a compliment, that's happening to you. And even if it's not coming out on the outside, it's happening on the inside. And the consistency that you keep doing that, it will tell you, you are worthy, you are deserving, you are beautiful, you are amazing. So I'm so grateful for you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Bye.